the perimenopause is the 10 to 12 years before the menopause. The average age of menopause in the UK is 51. It's 52, I think, in America, parts of Europe. So in that, most of your symptoms of your hormones go into complete fluctuation as they gradually decrease. So you can be full of it 1 month, and the hormones are estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. Those are the three main hormones. So in your late 30s, you should be thinking about, you should be arming yourself with the knowledge, what are the possible things that could happen when my hormones start fluctuating and gradually disappear, because that's gradually what's going to happen over that 10. Now, there are up to 40 symptoms of the perimenopause, and they can range from bizarre things like tinnitus through to severe psychosis and depression, because estrogen is powering your brain, and when it disappears, your brain can't work, and it dumps a load of information, hence the brain fog, hence the depression. Now, 2/3 of women are wrongly prescribed antidepressants in perimenopause, because one of the main symptoms is feeling just awful and feeling like you're losing yourself. The highest rate of suicide for women is between 45 and 49, which is not a coincidence. So all of this has been missed. So if you know that's coming, you might have a family history. It's worth knowing what your mum went through and your grandmother went through during her menopause as well. And it's worth keeping a record of all the female health issues you may have faced that could be hormone related during childbirth and after having your children, so you can sort of join up the dots, because it's all about fluctuating hormones. As we know with childbirth, it's fluctuating hormones. You can lose your hair, your skin will change. You can get osteoporosis, the beginnings of osteoporosis. There are so many symptoms. So arm yourself, find out about the symptoms. There is a doctor called Dr. Louise Newson, who I would say is probably the world's leading expert. We had her on the podcast very early on menopause and perimenopause. She's a GP. She treats women every single day. She saves lives, is what I would say. Hormone replacement therapy, which is when you replace the three hormones with body identical, so they are naturally made out of yams, will stop the majority of these symptoms. And it is so much safer. In fact, for women under 60, body identical HRT has no risk of breast cancer. So, and there are vaginal pessaries as well, estrogen pessaries, other ways of taking it. There are some women who can't take it, and those who've had estrogen positive breast cancer can't take HRT. But it is that the risks are so low compared to there was a very terrible study done 20 years ago of women over 60 using a different form of HRT, which has really blighted the whole of all the research on it. So I would say find out the facts on HRT, go to your doctor. The NHS recommendations are it is the first line of defense for any perimenopause symptoms. There is no test for perimenopause, because what your hormones are today will be totally different tomorrow, and unless you can compare that to the day they started when you were 14, there is no test. So don't be told, oh, we'll do a test on your hormones. That's not what's happening. It's a test on other things. Now, the other thing about HRT, which is really important, is it's a preventative medicine. So it will stop you getting osteoporosis. It prevents heart disease and dementia. So if you are able to take it and you're not taking it, you're putting yourself at risk of those diseases. There's a big documentary coming out on Monday, May the 2nd, on Channel 4 about how the brain is affected by menopause and perimenopause, and lack of HRT, lack of your hormones. The earlier you start taking HRT, the less the effect on your brain. So that, again, that new research is going to show how beneficial it is to women. So really, there are also lots of lifestyle changes that you can make. You know, exercise is the single most effective way of helping the symptoms. And that can be anything. And you have to do a slightly different, more weight-bearing based exercise in your 40s and 50s. So if you know that's coming, and sleeplessness is the worst, you know, the sleeplessness of perimenopause it is as bad as the sleeplessness of babies. It's suddenly back in your life again, and often you've got teenagers at that point, and they only ever want to talk to you at sort of post 10:30 at night. So it's, if you know all this information, you and it's all on the NHS website, then you're going to be thinking about it in advance, and you might change your lifestyle slightly as you come out of your 30s, which will really set you up for a way better journey than perhaps the one that my generation have had.